Hello, beautiful souls. My name is Jessie, and welcome back to another episode of Rewire to Inspire. This show where we'll dive into self-love, learn tangible ways to rewire the brain, and discovering your soul's purpose. The goal of Rewire to Inspire is to encourage listeners to begin doing the hard work, to get curious and open to maximizing your life. Our mindset shapes how we live. Depending on life events, traumas, and personal experiences, our mindsets are all vastly different. However, one thing we all have in common is the ability to rewire our mind, to change the narrative, and to pivot our lives. I hope you leave each episode with the belief that you are so worthy to live a life true to you. I look forward to chatting with you every single Tuesday and Thursday and helping you grow exponentially in all areas of your life. Without further ado, here's today's episode. Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to my podcast, Rewire to Inspire. I am your host, Jessie Brown, and I am jumping on the microphone today with a very grateful, inspired, and emotional heart. It is a beautiful Sunday afternoon today when I'm recording today's episode. And as I was sitting here contemplating, what do I want to share for today's episode? I found myself going in a circle. And whenever I find myself doing that, I know that my answer is to tune within of what I am maybe needing, what I was maybe needing at the beginning of my growth journey, or what I just think as a collective, we might all need to hear. So welcome. Get comfortable. I'm so excited. I'm really, really, really honored to be jumping on here with you guys. I hope you're having an incredible Thursday. I hope that your summer is going amazing. I know that the weather where I live has been a little bit questionable for a summer, but nonetheless, I think that within all of this, even just that sentence of hearing these things all the time, of these expectations of what things are supposed to be like, supposed to feel like, we can get so easily caught up in the expectations of things that we're not taking time to enjoy what it is that is right in front of us. And so there's just been so many avenues lately that I've recognized if we lean into gratitude and we lean into trust and we lean into embodiment and we focus and try to find the good, we're going to allow ourselves to experience a completely different reality in life than when we constantly just focus on all the expectations that we have in our mind and that we hear around us. And so really, really excited to be jumping on here with you guys. If you missed Tuesday's episode, kind of goes on theme with what my hat is today. And so it was all about my self-love journey and all about how I talk to myself and how I've improved how I've talked to myself over the years. And as I've been sitting, this weekend has been, I'm going to just move really quick. It might be loud for a second. There we go. This weekend has been spent in a lot of reflection internally for me. And I am someone who is a very, very hyper-aware individual. I notice my thoughts. I notice the things I tell myself. I'm very analytical of the people around me, things that surround me. And this is a really, really good personality trait and something that I think is a strength, but it can also be really overwhelming, really frustrating, and times that I just want to turn it off. But nonetheless, how this whole podcast episode idea surfaced was it started yesterday and then it kind of perpetuated into my morning today. So yesterday afternoon, I found myself just really questioning my life. And I don't mean this in a negative way. This is the most beautiful thing. But questioning like, okay, where am I heading? I thought I had a very clear direction a couple months ago of where I wanted my life to go, where I was going, what I wanted it to look like. I thought my goals were set, my vision was set. And then I found myself not really in alignment with those goals and dreams anymore. And this is what happens, right? As we grow and we pivot, we never actually really reach our achievements that we have set for ourselves. That keeps moving. Right? The benchmark keeps moving as we grow and evolve, because as we grow and evolve, everything around us indefinitely kind of has to shift because we've grown. We're a different person in a lot of ways. And so a lot of the goals that I had set for myself were just no longer in alignment with the things that I'm striving for and my priorities have shifted, and my vision of self has shifted. And so I found myself yesterday sitting on my couch, just like, what are we doing? Where are we going? What is up? What is wrong? What, like, just feeling a little blah with my direction. And I am someone who, one of my deepest fears is not maximizing my potential. That is one of my deepest fears. And when I feel like I am not investing my time and energy appropriately to maximize my potential, I feel that very, very heavily as an individual. And if you listen to the show, I'm sure there's a part of you that resonates with that as well. So I was like, okay, I want to maximize my potential, but I'm just feeling really, really stuck on what that is lately. I've stepped away from a couple things. I've stepped back from coaching in a lot of ways. I'm still am coaching very, very minimally, because there was just certain things that weren't in alignment anymore. And so I told myself in that moment, okay, I was sitting on the couch and I was spiraling, and I found myself just getting really upset and really lost. And so I'm like, okay, I need to go do something that gives me certainty and I know is going to fill my cup instantly, which is playing basketball. And so I went to a court right beside my house and I started shooting hoops. I can quite easily self-identify for myself that I am a strong shooter. That is what I love to do. I love shooting 3-pointers. It is just my favorite thing in the whole world. I've always been a 3-point shooter. I have not always been a 3-point shooter. I've always loved shooting 3-pointers. And I was getting really, really frustrated because my shots were not landing. And the more that I was shooting and missing and getting in my head, the worse that it was becoming. And I stopped for a minute and I was like, what an analogy for my life right now. And here's how I want this to land for you. Theoretically, in this instance, when we keep shooting and we keep missing, but we don't take a moment to step back and ask ourselves why we're missing, AKA, I know when I'm missing, there's something wrong with my shot. My arm is either too far out. I'm not following through with my shot. I do this thing where I swing my arms backwards after I'm done shooting. My hand goes to the side and isn't in forward. And so I know these certain things that when they're off, my shot isn't going to land. And instead of analyzing that for myself and saying, is it your hand? Is it your arm? Is it your arc? Like, what is it? I just kept hammering these shots and missing over and over and over again and starting to feel like shit about myself. Well, you're not a very good shooter anymore and you've lost it and you're not a basketball player. And what are you doing? We shouldn't be playing this anymore. And we shouldn't be doing this. And I stopped and I sat on the ground and I just took a minute to reflect. And I'm like, Jessie, you know that you're a good shooter. Insert thing here that you know that you're good at, you know that you're passionate about, you know that you love, you know brings you joy. But when we go off of what we know works, when we step away from our system, when something is off, something is out of alignment, and we start to see the byproduct of that, we paint this big picture that we should just give up, that we're not good enough, that we don't have it, that we've lost it. And really what I got from this is I'm like, you're not a bad shooter. You're just off today. And instead of labeling myself as a bad shooter, what I should have done instead is ask myself, okay, what is off? What is wrong in my approach right now? I encourage you, my love, listening. If there's something in your life that seems off right now, you feel like you're falling short, you feel like you're falling behind, you feel like you're not hitting your shot, for lack of better analogies, what is it that is leaking into that? What is the step before that that is making that a byproduct? This has led me to look at my life and really contemplate for myself this morning. I've spent the last hour just reflecting and journaling and listening to videos and trying to realign. And I'm like, it's not that my life is shit. And it's not that I don't have things going for me. The things in which, the direction in which I am investing into my life is what's off. It's not in alignment with where I know I need to go. But until we figure out what it is that is off in our life, we will continue to feel like crap because we're going to feel like we're missing. We're going to feel like we're failing. And we're going to feel like we're falling short. And so what I wanted this podcast episode to kind of land for you guys is, what if it isn't that you're not good enough, you're not capable enough? What if it's just that your system isn't supporting you? What if your goals just aren't set up according to where you actually want to go? What if you're showing up for other people instead of yourself? What if we are so good at jumping so far ahead instead of taking a step back and analyzing for ourselves that we're missing so much evidence right in front of us? Second part to this that I kind of started with earlier was around what you focus on, what you tell yourself, what you think, what you embody. That is then how you will see the world. The last 2 weeks, my self-talk, which is why yesterday's episode surfaced, has been hot garbage. I don't know why I have been so hard on myself in the last 2 weeks. I look in the mirror and it's just instantly telling myself something negative. I think about my career. I'm instantly telling myself something that I'm not good at, I'm not worthy of, I'm not capable of. I've been feeling like a failure lately, feeling like I'm starting over, feeling like I'm lost, I'm directionless, I don't know what I'm doing. All these old traumas have been surfacing. And instead of just validating for myself, like, hey, what's going on here? Because whenever we find ourselves in those spirals, it's often because something is out of alignment, something is off. But the only way, again, the basketball analogy, to recorrect that is to take a step back and to ask ourselves and get curious about what it is that is off. I know better than to tell myself negative things. That is what I preach. I'm wearing a hat for the love of God that says self-love. I have a self-love podcast. I embody and embrace and project positive self-talk. I have stickers everywhere, like stay positive. You got this. There's things everywhere. That is what I'm most passionate about. Yet I've lost sight of that. And I had to ask myself, why? Why is that? If you are going through a phase in your life right now, and if you're not, you likely will, because that is the seasons of life. I want you to take a step back and remind yourself that you are not a failure. You are not less than. You are not incapable. You are worthy. Your system is just off. Your approach is off. Your shot is good. Your technique is just off. We're really good at giving ourselves the evidence that we're not good enough. We're less than, right? And we do this often through comparison. We're really good at that. And what it does is it gives our brain evidence. It feeds it evidence. But here's the thing that I want to remind you that I think we know intuitively, but we always forget. Our brain doesn't know the difference between what we tell it and what is true. So if I'm sitting there telling myself, you're so ugly, you're so stupid, you're so worthless, guess what? My brain's going to believe that. And it's going to start to show me all the ways in which that is true. But here's the beautiful thing. The opposite thing also rings true. When we tell ourselves, I am capable, I am in alignment, I am a light, I am growing every day, I am trying my best, I believe in myself, whatever, insert thing here. We will start to show up differently. We will start to believe in ourselves a little bit more. And here's the thing is, again, we need to ask ourselves what it is that's leaking into us feeling off. Because when we feel off for a reason. Our body's almost always trying to tell us and communicate with us that something isn't right for you. Again, this is that spiritual part of me. We have a higher self looking out for us all the time. We each have a higher self. Whether you want to believe that or embody that or not, that is okay. That is up for you to take or to leave. We all have a higher part of us that knows what's best for us. It's looking out for us. And I've built a very strong relationship with my higher self. I call her Hummingbird. She is my guiding force. I have her tattooed on me and she guides me. And so whenever I feel like this, I'm always like, yo, Hummingbird, what the hell? What's off? What's going on? And that gives me permission to lean into that. But I wasn't doing that for a while. And I was shutting her out, and I was shutting out my intuition, and I was allowing just these intrusive thoughts to take over. And if you are someone who deals with mental illness, deals with mental health on a day-to-day basis, you know that once you start to allow those thoughts to seep in and you start to believe them, they become really toxic and they become really strong and they become a part of how you show up. But here's what I want you to know. Here's what I want you to take away from today. You have the ability to pause and to pivot that at any time. I want to give you that permission right now that if life's just been not going the way you want it to lately, or even if it has, I still just want you to know that you can stop at any time and you can make the necessary shifts to change your life. Because as I say all the time, if your heart is beating, if your lungs are pumping, and if your brain is thinking and working, you are still here. No time. We can't measure time. If you are still alive, you can shift your life at any time. We get so stuck in these cycles of thinking that, oh, there's not enough time to do that. Or there's no point of shifting now. This is just how it is. Once you have locked something in stone, that is where it will stay. I want you to know that as I've been telling myself over the last couple of days, the last couple of weeks, Jessie, you are the only one who can realign your life. You are the only one who can shift how you're showing up. You are the only one who can do the internal work to heal and to pivot. You are the only one who can get clear on your goals and your approach and to show up for them. It's the same with you. You are the only one who can show up, who can take action, who can get clear, who can do the healing. That is on you. Sometimes it starts with taking that seat, stop shooting for a while, and ask yourself, what is wrong with my approach? What is wrong with how I'm showing up right now? I journaled this morning and I asked myself 2 questions. I said, what is going really good right now in my life? Because bringing that gratitude component in is huge. Then I reflected, not what is bad, what I'm needing more of. I don't need to focus on what it is that's not working. I need to focus on what I'm grateful for and what I need more of. And as a byproduct, those things that are no longer serving me will wean themselves out. And I made this big, long, beautiful list of all the things that I'm needing more of. And the great, amazing thing about that list is there was not one thing on there that costed money. They were all things that I have just forgotten about myself or neglected for myself because I had gotten so busy with my time that I forgot about the most important person, which is me. And if that lands for you, my love, you need to take time for yourself. You need to take time for yourself. This is coming from someone whose biggest fear is not maximizing her potential. And I know the importance of working and putting my head down and having grit and working my ass off and whatever. But because I have burnt myself out so many times of only prioritizing my work, I'm telling you, when you do not prioritize yourself, it will catch up to you. And you are probably already feeling that. You are the only one who can make those shifts and pivots. And so I encourage you, write down the things that are going really, really good for you right now. You're feeling good about, you're feeling in flow, you're grateful for them. There's nothing that's making you feel out of alignment when you think about them. And then I want you to make a list of all the things you're needing more of. Some things that I wrote on mine. I wrote time in nature, challenging myself more, being more crafty. I used to be such a crafty person and I have forgotten that part of me because I identified that as not being productive. But here's the thing. What if the things that we don't identify as being productive are actually productive because they make us a better version of ourselves? That is something that I had to contemplate for myself for a really, really long time. And again, we all go through different journeys in our life. We all experience things different. And so I encourage you to just see what comes up for you and how can you begin to find time to prioritize those things. Yes, work is important. Grit is important. Goals are important. If anything, goals are everything in life. If you don't have goals, you're, is all I'm going to say, right? There's been so many studies done on the brain from a neuroscience perspective of how beneficial having goals is for us as human beings. It's good to have direction. But we also need time for play and for fun and for the things that we love and that make us us, so that we can take a different approach and we can see what's up with our system and we can recorrect and realign so that we can start hitting those shots again. Don't allow it to get to a point like I did where I was getting just so frustrated outside of the court, but just on a day-to-day basis of, why do I feel like I'm just missing? Why do I feel off? I know that I know how to shoot, but they're not landing. I know that I know how to work, but nothing is aligned. If that lands for you, something is out of alignment. Don't give up. Keep going. Keep momentum. Maintain momentum. But it's okay to take your foot off the gas slightly. Don't take it off and put it on the brake. Take it off slightly. Slow down. Realign so that you can give it more gas. Keep going and exceed towards your goals. So that is what I have for you guys today. My loves, this week has been a lot of just pouring from my heart. I've had no notes for either of my episodes this week, which might be a great thing or might be a really, really bad thing. But I'm just leaning more into sharing from my heart authentically and what I am feeling. And that is the season in which I am in right now. And I will probably jump on here next week and I'm going to be hyper and I'm going to be blah, blah, blah. But know that it all comes from a place of just wanting to share what I'm experiencing and going through, of knowing that has to be at least one more person out there experiencing this. And again, as we started today's episode, just the analogy of the weather of, oh, summer is supposed to be this. And yes, I agree. Trust me, I want more sunshine. But how can we focus on what there is? You know, there's no snow right now. Eventually, we're going to be complaining that there's snow. So right now there's no snow. How can we enjoy that? Enjoying when we can find joy and gratitude in each and every season that we go through, despite what our expectations are of what it's supposed to be. Think of how much happier we show up as individuals and as human beings in general. So find some things you're grateful for, write down the things that you need more of in your life, and try to find capacity to bring those into your life over the next couple of weeks and just see how that feels for you. And just know that you're not alone is the biggest thing. I want you guys to know that although I jump on here and I do, pride myself in feeling like I am pretty good at setting goals and holding myself accountable and whatever, I struggle on a day-to-day basis. Some days are better than others, but I've been going through it. And yes, there's been good days within that and I'm in high spirits and I'm very grateful, but that it's that internal battle that we all deal with, right? That nobody else seems to know about and we're all really, really good at protecting. And I want you to know that my inner voice has been louder than usual and she's been negative. And so I know that I'm the only one that can do the things to work on that. And you are the only ones that can do that for you. But know that you are so worthy and you are so capable of doing so. So thank you guys so much for tuning into today's episode. I hope you enjoy. If you did, it would mean the absolute world to me if you guys could rate the show below, follow the show. There's a little plus sign, share it with someone that you think would benefit from this. And I'm just so grateful for each and every one of you. And I look forward to chatting to you all next week. Bye, you guys. Thank you all so much for tuning into today's episode of Rewire to Inspire. I absolutely love connecting with you all, so make sure you're following me on Instagram. I am at JessieBrown13. If you enjoyed today's episode, please feel free to leave a review or share with someone you think would enjoy. I look forward to chatting with you all next episode. And remember, get out of your head and into your heart.